ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। अष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतिरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितमेन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 1, verse 56 and 57. अयं हि श्रुतसम्पन्ना शीलवृत्तगुणालयः धृतः ब्रुतो मृदुर्दान्तः सत्यवान् मन्त्रविच्युचिः गुर्वज्ञतिथि वृद्धानां शुश्रूषुर् अनहङ्कृतः सर्वभूतसुहृत्साधुर्मितवाग् अनसूयकः. In the beginning, this Brahmana, now the Yamadutas are giving the reason why they have come to punish Ajamila, or take him to Naraka. So till now they spoke of the nature of dharma and adharma. Now they are telling why adharma, how Ajamila was fit to be punished because he was practicing adharma. So two verses they speak of his righteous nature, to show how his sinful nature was actually not suitable to him. So he was actually a very good person. So which is we have to all, it's you have to be careful that anytime we can fall down. Maya is so powerful. In the beginning, this Brahmana named Ajamila studied all the Vedic literatures. See, studied all the Vedic literatures. He was a reservoir of good character. Sheila, good character. Vritta, good conduct. Guna, good qualities. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says good qualities like tolerance, which means he was a dhira also. Firmly established in executing all the Vedic injunctions. He was very mild and gentle. And he kept his mind and senses under control. Look at all the high, lofty qualifications of Ajamila. So, a reservoir of good character, good conduct, good qualities, firmly established in executing Vedic injunctions, mild and gentle, kept his mind and senses under control. Furthermore, he was always truthful. He knew how to chant the Vedic mantras. He was always very pure. Always, he was very pure. He was also very pure. Ajamila was very respectful to his spiritual master, which means that he had a spiritual master, the fire god, guests, and the elderly members of the whole household. Indeed, he was free from false prestige. He was upright, benevolent to all living entities, well behaved. He would never speak nonsense or envy anyone. I mean, these are characteristics which possibly devotees would also, aim to develop. So Ajamila was a very, very sattvic person. From these qualities, you can see. Very sattvic person, and on top of it, his father was a devotee. So we'll talk about that soon. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments. But the order carriers of Yamaraja are explaining the factual position of piety and impiety, and how a living entity is entangled in this material world. Describing the history of Ajamila's life, the Yamadutas relate that in the beginning he was a learned scholar of Vedic literature. He was well behaved, neat, clean, very kind to everyone. He had all the good qualities. In other words, he was like a perfect Brahmana. A Brahmana is expected to be perfectly pious, to follow all the regulative principles, to have all good qualities. Symptoms of piety are explained in these verses. So Ajamila followed the rules and regulations of celibacy as a perfect brahmachari, was very soft-hearted, truthful, clean, pure. How he fell down in spite of all these qualities and thus came to be threatened with punishment by Yamaraja will be described in the following verses. So So it was not like he was disqualified or he was an unqualified person from the beginning. No, he was a very, very qualified Brahmana. Mm. A very qualified, perfect Brahmana, perfect Brahmachari. All the good qualities. एकदासौ वनं यात पितृसन्देशकृद्विजः आदाय तथावृत्तः फलपुष्पः समित्कुशान् तदर्श कामिनं कञ्चित् शूद्रं सः भुजिष्यया पीत्वा स च मधुमैरेयं मदाघूर्णितनेत्रया मत्तया विश्लथन्नीव्या व्यपेतं निरपत्रपं क्रीडन्तम् अनुगायन्तम् हसन्तं मनयान्तिके. What happened? Once this Brahmana Ajamila, so again, so qualified that he is being called Brahmana Ajamila. So once this Brahmana Ajamila, following the order of his father, went to the forest to collect fruit, flowers, and two kinds of grass called Samit and Kusha. On the way home, he came upon a Shudra, a very lusty fourth class man. Shudra, fourth class man. So generally Shudras are also, they have like, yeah, they are low class, so they can also be very lusty. Mm. And that is why Shastra actually says that money should not be given in the hands of Shudra because he will use it for women and wine, drinking. And so that is the reason why previously Shudras never used to be given like a fixed like salary to take home. The person for whom he was working used to work, Shudras used to work, they used to take care of their expenses. It's like submit bills directly and they will pay. Because if you give money to Shudra, it will get spoiled. And that is a state of current affairs in Kali Yuga. Kalau Shudra Sambhavaha. So everybody is a Shudra. And unfortunately, Shudra should not be given money in hand, but Shudras are given money in hand. And so the whole society is where it is. So what will a Shudra do? Very lusty fourth class man who was shamelessly embracing and kissing a prostitute on the public path somewhere in the forest. Mm. Because it's not like Ajamila went into some obscure someplace, right? He was generally going and coming back, and then on the way he saw the Shudra somewhere. Of course, previously it was not that it would also happen so openly, these kind of things, right? Nowadays, anyway, the culture is so fallen that, yeah, I'm saying that male and female contact in public is not approved by Shastra. Even if it has a husband and wife, even things like holding hands in public, all this is in Vedic culture, right? But and here, Shudra, he's shamelessly embracing. And today, this is all common, especially in Western countries. These things are just so low class. Um, and in India also slowly, it's going to come. Mm, we are so aggressively embracing the Western culture that these things will also come, and it'll become normal. It'll become normal, part of fallen Kali Yuga life. The Shudra was smiling, singing, and enjoying as if this were proper behavior. See, what was he doing which was wrong? Smiling, singing, and enjoying. Everybody does this today. Both the Shudra and the prostitute were drunk. The prostitute's eyes were rolling in intoxication, and her dress had become loose. Such was the condition in which Ajamila saw them. Mm, mm. So this liquor was made of rice. So they were drunk, which was made of rice, they're saying. And yeah, they had no fear of others. Hmm. While traveling along the public way, Ajamila came upon a fourth class man and a prostitute who are vividly described here. Drunkenness was sometimes manifest even in bygone ages, although not very frequently. In this age of Kali, however, such sin is to be seen everywhere. But people all over the world have become shameless. Actually, this is so true. Even in, for example, like we go to metro to get our, whatever household requirements, and there's a separate shop, like inside metro, there's a separate shop just for you know liquor. So even like big establishments have separate meat and wine, meat and liquor. These have separate. They are treated. They are given special importance. Mm. So Prabhupada is saying people all over the world have become shameless. At least previously it used to be Shudras and low class women like prostitutes who used to engage in all this. And the other day I was in one metro and I was seeing some very nicely dressed lady going into this liquor shop and buying liquor. Men doing it is still okay for some fallen, but women doing it is unimaginable, right? And it's all now commonplace, right? And it's not even like people have to go out somewhere and drink. They'll just drink at home to sit together and drink. Children will also drink with parents. Very fallen. So Prabhupada is saying people all over the world have become shameless. Long ago, when he saw the scene of the drunken Shudra and the prostitute, Ajamila, who was a perfect brahmachari, was affected. Long ago, that too. So we can imagine how difficult it is to actually maintain, this. I mean, really, we should fall at the lotus feet of all brahmacharis, perfect brahmacharis, right? Because it's really so difficult. Grihastha somehow got license to engage uh, in with their at least married spouse. But brahmacharis, in spite of so much provocation, this was long ago. But in today's world, this is seen everywhere. Every billboard is like this. Is like Ajamila and drunken prostitute. But Ajamila was a perfect brahmachari. Even in those days, got affected. So really, we should have utmost respect for brahmacharis in Kali Yuga who are able to uphold their vows. Prabhupada is saying nowadays such sin is visible in so many places. And we must consider the position of a brahmachari student who sees such behavior. Yeah, see, for such a brahmachari to remain steady is very difficult unless he is extremely strong in following the regulative principles. And it's true even for grastas also. The other day we were reading on purport where Prabhupada is saying what is a perfect brahmacharya. So my spiritual master is on his Bhakti Vikas Maharaj has written a book called Brahmacharya and Krishna Consciousness. And it is advisable. It is actually something that is recommended even for grihasthas. That grihasthas remain like brahmacharis unless they have any intent of producing children. Otherwise, they should remain as brahmacharis. And literally with bare minimum, contact with spouse. Bare minimum, only as much as is required. And so everybody has to, even devotee grihasthas have to live like this, have to practice brahmacharya. And it can be done only if we extremely strong in following regulative principles. So we should not neglect regulative principles. And regulative principles doesn't only mean the four regulative principles. Otherwise, Prabhupada is written, I would have written following the four regulative principles. So regulative principles basically means all rules and regulations that are regulating our Vaidhi Bhakti, that how we have to live, eating, everything, all aspects. Yuktahara, viharasya, yuktateshtasya karmasu, yukta swapnava bodhasya. So everything, all aspects of our life should be regulated. Nevertheless, if one is if one takes to Krishna consciousness very seriously, the most important word here is very seriously, not even seriously. Only if we can take up to Krishna consciousness very seriously, we can withstand the provocation created by sin. In our Krishna consciousness movement, we prohibit illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, and gambling. In Kali Yuga, drunk, half-naked woman embracing a drunk man is a very common sight. And Prabhupada is speaking while he's sitting in Western countries. So he's saying, especially in the Western countries. And restraining oneself after seeing such things is very difficult. Very explicit. Bhagavatam, in Bhagavatam, Prabhupada is making very explicit statements about the state of affairs. Drunk, half-naked woman embracing a drunk man is a very common sight. And restraining oneself after seeing such things is very difficult. Nevertheless, if by the grace of Krishna, one adheres to the regulative principles, again, so Prabhupada is talking about adhering to regulative principles by the grace of Krishna. Mm. Chants the Hare Krishna mantra, Krishna will certainly protect him. But the important part here is very seriously. Indeed, Krishna says that his devotee is never vanquished. Kaunteya pratidanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Therefore, all the disciples practicing Krishna consciousness should obediently follow regulative principles and remain fixed in chanting the holy name of the Lord. Then there need be no fear. Otherwise, one's position is very dangerous, especially in this Kali Yuga. So again, it's the somehow Prabhupada keeps hammering the same mood of perfectly following rules and regulations, regulative principles, and very seriously. This we keep hearing every now and then, right, in Prabhupada's purports. And we should not be callous towards rules, saying, it's okay. I'm not going to get affected. Oh, Ajamila was such a perfect brahmachari. He himself got affected. What to speak of us? So we have to be very, very careful. Stick to Prabhupada's purports, right? And it will give us answers to all our problems. दृष्ट्वा तां लिप्तेन बाहुना परिरम्भितां जगामहृच्छयवशं सहसैव विमोहितः. दृष्ट्वा तां कामलिप्तेन, they were lipta, kamaliptena. Shudra, his arm decorated with turmeric powder, was embracing the prostitute. When Ajamila saw her, the dormant lusty desires in his heart awakened, and in illusion he fell under their control. Apparently, if you apply turmeric juice, it induces lust, incites lust. So be careful. It is said that if one's body is smeared with turmeric, it attracts the lusty desires of the opposite sex. The word Kamaliptena indicates that the Shudra was decorated with turmeric smeared on his body. Okay. So anyway, so important part here is, so he was embracing the prostitute. Ajamila saw her. This is the most dangerous thing. Dormant lusty desires. So we won't even know that they exist till they awaken. And then we are caught. So we should not take things for granted. Very, very important. स्तम्भयन्नात्मनात्मानं यावत् सत् ashrutam na shashaka samadhatun mano madana vepitam. As far as possible, he patiently again. It's not that he just simply just fell. He patiently tried to remember the instructions of the Shastras, not even to see a woman. With the help of this knowledge and his intellect, he tried to control his lusty desires. But because of the force of Cupid within his heart, he failed to control the mind. So this is very, very important. Very, very important. So post facto, he is trying to remember the instructions of Shastras that one should not even see a woman. Then with the help of this knowledge, so he remembered the knowledge and is using his intellect and is trying to control the lusty desires which have got awakened. But once awakened, the force of Cupid within heart failed to control his mind. Unless one is very strong, again, very serious, very strong in knowledge, patience. Very, very important words. Knowledge, patience, proper bodily, mental, and intellectual behavior. Controlling one's lusty desires is extremely difficult. So what all should one have? Very strong in knowledge, patience, proper bodily, mental, and intellectual behavior. Meaning even the thoughts. Bodily behavior is understandable. Mental behavior, whatever is even going through the mind, has to be proper. Controlling one's lusty desires is extremely difficult. Patience. So when sometime, when some unwanted thoughts come in our mind, we should be patient. Patiently, we should keep that thought at bay. Why patient? Patience is a quality of sattva guna. Somebody who is in rajoguna, tamoguna, when unwanted thoughts come, because they don't have patience, they can't tolerate, they will immediately want to act in that direction. So if there is some unwanted desire, some thought comes to our mind, then immediately we should exercise patience. We should tolerate that mind and try to ignore it, etc. We should. So this is the most important thing here. What happened to Ajamila was that when he didn't restrain himself, he didn't prevent himself from actually seeing her, seeing her. He didn't prevent her himself. This is where his problem was actually, because everything else is post facto. The trigger is here. And once this gets triggered, then very difficult. Dhyayato Vishan Pumsa. Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita. Dhyayato Vishan Pumsam Sangas Teshu Upajayate. Dhyayato. Just for a moment, he saw her and contemplated about her, even unconsciously in the mind, is gone. So subsequently, even his intelligence, knowledge, nothing helped him because he got attached, he got attracted. So the best course of action is to be preventive. That is why actually in the third chapter or fifth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying, for for a neophyte yogi, yeah, I think, or maybe in the sixth chapter, for neophyte yogi, cessation is the means. Cessation meaning stopping, preventing ourselves from coming in contact with things that might make us fall down. It could be anything. It could be some outside food. It could be some mundane music. It could be some mundane news. It could be mundane relations. Or it could even be something like this, liquor, illicit relations, meat eating, whatever we might have come out of before we came into Krishna consciousness. If we still give it some thought, then our mind can defeat us, can cheat us. So once he saw her, that is the dhyayato. After that, nothing helped. Nothing helped. Mm. After seeing a man embracing a young woman and practically doing everything required for sex life, even a fully qualified Brahmana, as described above, could not control his lusty desires and restrain himself from pursuing them. So Prabhupada is making it more explicit here. Seeing a man embracing a young woman and practically doing everything required for sex life. So which means it was gross. And this, like I keep saying, even our children are exposed to these kind of things today on TV, right? So what hope do we have? Mobile phone, TV, everything is full of provocative stuff. So the only solution for children is Kaumaram Acharyat Pragno. From a young age, they should be given Krishna consciousness. Only then we have some hope. And for grown-ups, Dhyayato. May try hard not to put your mind into any useless thought. Even if some useless thought comes, it should be immediately, not even for a second, it should be immediately rejected as low class. Immediately. Right? Because even if we give a moment to process any of this unwanted thoughts, mind will get hooked on. I mean, simple things. Forget about all these gross things, right? Even, for example, just shopping, buying something, right? Dhyayato Vishan Pumsan. We just focus on it for some time, then we are gone, right? So we have to be like extremely careful. So don't give license to your mind to act whimsically, to think whimsically, to see whimsically. You should always remember that Krishna is seeing. Krishna is seeing what we are doing, what we are thinking. Even thoughts. While thoughts by themselves don't give a phala in Kali Yuga, but thoughts will provoke us into action. And once we get into action, then we are gone. And what is that action? Action is even, for example, you know, yeah, just looking at some woman outside, some, somebody, unknown person, mm, for whatever reason, is a sin, is not acceptable, right? So we have to be very, very careful. We have to be very, very careful. That's why Bhagavad Gita says that not even a moment can be passed without doing action. So every action we are doing, we have to be mindful. Every action, be it even including thinking and all the knowledge acquiring senses, uh, working senses, all 10, 11, 10 senses plus mind. How we are engaging these 10 senses and mind, we have to be extremely careful and cautious. Mm. Even a fully qualified Brahmana could not control his lusty desires and restrain himself from pursuing them. Because of the force of materialistic life, to maintain self control is extremely difficult unless one is specifically under the protection of the Supreme Lord through devotional service. Like, and Prabhupada already said that one has to be very serious. If one is very seriously doing bhakti, then bhakti can protect. Mm. So, yeah, in the next verse, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives some insights. Hristan nimitta smara vyaja graha grasto vichetanaha tameva manasa dhyayan swadharmad viraramaha. In the same way that the sun and moon are eclipsed by a low planet, Brahmana lost all his good sense. Taking advantage of the situation, he always thought of the prostitute. And within a short time, he took her as a servant in his house and abandoned all regulatory principles of a Brahmana. So, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying here, he could not protect himself by jnana, nor by his steadiness in bhakti, in dharma. Mm. So, he could not protect himself. What protected him was just nama. So, which means we can understand the comparative strength of dharma, jnana, and bhakti here. Dharma couldn't help him, jnana couldn't help him. Finally, only bhakti rescued him, even though he had fallen. So, we can powerful bhakti is. By speaking this verse, Shukadeva Goswami wants to impress upon the mind of the reader that Ajamila's exalted position as a Brahmana was vanquished by his association with the prostitute, so much so that he forgot all his Brahminical qualities. Nevertheless, at the end of life, by chanting the 4 syllables of the name Narayana, he was saved from the gravest danger of falling down. Svalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Even a little devotional service can save one from the greatest danger. Devotional service, which begins with chanting of the holy name, is so powerful that even if one falls down from the exalted position of a Brahmana through sexual indulgence, he can be saved from all calamities if he somehow or other chants the holy name of the Lord. It's so powerful. This is the extraordinary power of the Lord's holy name. No one can be saved. And then there's a quality of chanting, how we should chant, etc. Those things will be discussed going forward. So these 2 chapters are super important for us, especially because our whole progress depends on chanting Hare Krishna. Therefore, in Bhagavad Gita, it is advised that one not forget the chanting of the holy name even for a moment. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavrataha. Dridhavrataha means fixed in determination. We should be fixed in our determination. Sometimes, we see devotees chanting one day, another day not chanting, one day suddenly chanting 16 rounds, then again next day doing some. No, we should be fixed in our determination. Okay, if I am decided to do 2 rounds, that's fine. I will do 2 rounds every day, come what may. Same thing. If you decide to do 4 rounds, 6 rounds, 8 rounds, 10 rounds, whatever it is, we should be dridhavrataha. There are so many dangers in this material world. that one may fall down from an exalted position at any point of time, at any time. Forget about exalted position. We might not even wake up to, I mean, we might just remain on the ground only. Meaning just, okay, somebody started chanting, but they're not able to make any progress. Because there's so many dangers. One came up, made progress from materialistic life to devotional life, started chanting, associating with devotees, etc. Then, I've seen devotees, and we are so concerned. If devotees don't come for 1 or 2 weeks to our satsang, we are worried. Oh, one more jiva. Oh my God. Hope he or she did not get lost, did not get conquered by Maya. There's one devotee who's coming regularly, and now he is like working 7 days a week. Really concerned. Right? Because there are many dangers in this material world. And what are these dangers? Anything that comes in between us and bhakti is a danger. Doesn't have to be life threatening or wealth threatening or anything like that. It's just if it comes between us and Krishna, us and the process of bhakti, then it's a danger. And one may just go away from Krishna. So what is required? One keeps himself always pure and steady. Always pure and steady. How? By chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. He'll be safe without a doubt. So the process of chanting should be given so much importance that chanting should actually help us to remain pure and steady. Now, if we are not able to, for any reason, what is the solution? If our chanting is not good, what is our solution?
Hare Krishna.
Anybody?
Prabhu, we have to still keep chanting.
We have to still keep chanting, okay? What else?
Strive for chanting.
Huh?
Strive for better chanting always.
Sorry, Ruchira Mataji, what were you saying?
I'm saying, Prabhuji, we should strive for better chanting.
Strive for better chanting, okay? Okay, yeah, Kameshwari Mataji.
Take help of our spiritual superiors. Prabhu.
Okay, okay, yeah, very important. Yeah, actually, so see, the whole idea that we are struggling means that we will not be able to do it ourselves. That is number one, right? So first point is to actually take shelter, take help, right? We have to surrender and tell whatever state is, and seek for help. See, help will come only when we seek out for it. It's not going to come just like that. We have to seek. I mean, either we seek for that directly from Krishna, and then Krishna mercifully, gives us, sends us help through other devotees mostly. Right. The other thing which is very, very important to do is Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Right? Because Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. This Naistiki Bhakti means Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu. This is what we need to get out of. Abhadreshu. All the Abhadras, all the Anarthas. So Nasta Prayeshu. So here by Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, what happens? Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu. Nasta Prayeshu. Prayeshu means almost all the anarthas are gone. Not fully. Almost. But sufficiently. Bhagavatam, serving Bhagavatam, or of course, if we get to serve Bhagavatas every day, then there's nothing like it. But otherwise, just serving Bhagavatam, reading Bhagavatam every day, 1 hour, for half an hour, 45 minutes, 1 hour, will actually take us, it will help us, all the our anarthas will get destroyed. Then that can also help us to become pure and steady. Chanting is the process, but if we are not able to chant properly, then we have to take shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam and devotees. Then we can come back, or we can, uplift ourselves from a fallen state and come to a pure and steady state. If none of this works, then finally Krishna is there. Name Bhakta Pranashati. So Krishna will pull us out. If we are sincere, if we tried all this, still nothing is working, and we still sincerely don't want to remain in pure state, don't want to fall down, and we are still falling down, what will Krishna do? Krishna will intervene. Krishna will intervene, create a situation such that we are forced to come out. And Krishna is very merciful. So Krishna will help us. But the immediate action one needs to do when they're either, and that is the reason why all devotees, we need to introspect our level of bhakti. How is it going? Week on week, day on day, we need to keep assessing and see that, okay, am I doing better than last week? Am I doing better than yesterday? If I'm not, then I have to be worried. I have to be worried. If there is something negative that has come into my mind for whatever reason, it could be situation, it could be people, it could be anything. We should not neglect it. We should not neglect it. We have to give it attention. And we have to seek shelter. There is no other way. Of course, Prabhupada, we can seek shelter of Prabhupada's purpose, which is what, first thing I would request everybody to do is take shelter of Prabhupada's purpose. Like statements like this, understand that Prabhupada is directly speaking to us. Prabhupada is directly speaking to us. Right? So a pure devotee is talking directly to us. And imagine, just Prabhupada said, my books, right? So just whenever we read Prabhupada's purport, we should think Prabhupada is one-on-one talking to me. This is one-on-one advice, instruction, because he is our first Siksha Guru in ISKCON, right? So one-on-one Prabhupada is speaking to us. So Prabhupada is giving us answers to our problems. That is the most important thing. If that also is not working for us for whatever reason, then go to a devotee who can help us. That also didn't help. Even after approaching, Krishna will somehow help at the end of the day. Somehow means he knows what is the best way for us. Right? So we should have that faith and we should go on. And the only thing is we should not take material life easy. It's very dangerous. So there are many dangers to pull us away from Krishna. Pull us away from Krishna. So whatever be the situation in our life, we should remember the only resort is Krishna. Actually, there are some devotees who actually they are coming to our Holy Mao Center, and they were in very, very, very big difficulty, right? And mother and son. So they used to come to me and ask me, then so many things I tried to tell them, but nothing worked for them. Nothing worked. Finally, even I kind of become, hopeless, saying that, oh, what now? What needs to be done? And then I just pray to Krishna, saying, Krishna, you only have to show the way. And then Krishna showed the way, helped them, took them to, a place which actually is now helping them come out of their situation. So, if we are sincere, if we depend on Krishna, Krishna will always guide us. Krishna will not give up on us. We might give up on Krishna, but Krishna will not give up. So he's so merciful. Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindhu, we say. He's Karuna Sindhu. He's an ocean of compassion, kindness, care. He's Bhakta Vatsala, Bhakta Adina, Bhakta Paradina. So he's like I've been talking about this Paritranaya Sadhu Manam works, and I'm saying like he just comes for devotees. He just comes for us, and he's ready to come at any point of time. Doesn't require any schedule. No pre-schedule appointment with Krishna. Krishna is always available. Just call out his name in helplessness. Helplessly call out his name. And Krishna is there. And call out his name helplessly and say, Krishna, I really need your help. I am just not able to manage this. And I don't like the way I'm stuck. I don't like my fallen state. Please help me. Or we are not able to make progress. We are stuck in one place for many months, years. Again, same thing. Call out to Krishna for help. So trust Krishna. Krishna is there with us all the time. Okay, I'll stop here. If anybody has any questions, comments. Anything? All okay? Yeah, Radha.
Hare Krishna, Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Pranam.
You said like one need to be very serious in the bhakti, only then we are protected by the Lord.
Mm.
At present, like we are not at the stage of seriously practicing. But how can we understand that? You mentioned that the Lord protects like only those devotees who are very seriously practicing.
Mm-hmm.
Like how, bro?
Okay, so it doesn't mean that Lord will not protect at all. Very seriously means if we are in very serious problem, then we have to become very serious. See, Lord only actually sees our sincerity. If you are sincere, Krishna is always there with us to help us out. And sometimes we will also see if we are sincere on one side and but we are not serious about bhakti, then it won't work. That is why Prabhupada always says sincerity and seriousness. These are two qualities that devotees have to develop, right? So we have to be sincere, meaning, I always tell people saying that we should sometimes, we speak very nicely to somebody, but actually we don't have really that feeling towards them. And that's not good. That's not sincerity. Sincerity also has an aspect of straightforwardness, right? Meaning, whatever is there inside should be there outside. As long as we are like this, meaning we are a clean slate. Yeah, like people around us know us saying that, okay, this person is a no nonsense person, meaning whatever it is, good, bad, ugly, he will speak, right? And so there is nothing, no fear of, okay, thinking something, doing something else. So we should sincerely think, saying, okay, no, I want to make progress. Sincere, be sincere about it. And sincere means, along with that, the effort that we have to put, automatically we become serious. So it's not like if we are sincere, it is very difficult not to be serious. Mm. So if you're sincere, that means you're also serious. Now, okay, if you're not very serious, then situations will come in life which will make us very serious if we are very sincere. Mm. But sincere and some limit of some amount of seriousness and dependence on Krishna mainly. Krishna is always there with us. But if we are serious, then we will not go here and there. We'll go to Krishna directly. So Prabhupada is saying one has to be very serious in devotion. Unconditional. Tivrena bhakti yogena. Very serious means Tivrena bhakti yogena. Kama sarva kama va moksha kama udaradihi Tivrena bhakti yogena. Intense devotion, serious devotion. Because devotion is not a joke. Right? But so if we think Krishna will protect, if we depend on Krishna, Krishna will protect. There is no doubt about it. Okay.
Yes, bro. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody? Okay. Thank you all for joining. Gruntra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Mancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Devotee Vaishnava ki jai. So next to tomorrow this chapter will get over, Krishna willing, and then we'll get into the. So next two chapters are like uh, one most important purport. Which chapter I'm seeing? Oh yeah, next chapter. Next chapter. That one verse purport. Possibly it will take us few classes just to understand it. Yeah. So 10th verse, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has written like some 10 to, oh no, not even 10 to 12 actually. Yeah, almost 15 pages purport he has written for one verse. Okay, so that itself will take us significant time, and I'm requesting everybody don't miss this. Because this is actually like I'd read this like few years back, and it really, I mean, changed so many things for me. It's a very, very powerful purport. So please attend. And if you're not able to attend, maybe at least you can hear the recording. It's very, very important set of verses 9, 10 when we come to that. Okay, fine. So we'll close here. Hare Krishna.